We've seen some major security breaches in the last few years. Companies, even government agencies getting hacked. Millions and millions of people affected. So what's happening now that has our next guest more concerned than ever? Let's compute this. Thor Schrock owns Schrock Innovations. Good morning. It's good to have you
Thanks
here.
for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, so I don't know the answer to this. I'll bite. What is happening right now that has you concerned?
This is probably the worst threatscape we have seen in the last 2 years. There are so many different things going on at the same time. This is a time when you really want to be, perk up the ears a little bit and be aware of your surroundings when you're online. Number one, we have a router breach. Now, this is different than a virus. So when you get a virus on your computer is infected, your computer does things it shouldn't do. You run antivirus software, you run removal programs, you bring it into Schrock, we clean it up, we can get it fixed. So easy peasy, right? Relatively. Your router gets infected. Your router is the box with the antennas that communicates with all the other wireless devices on your network, your phones, your tablets, your computers, your laptops, all of it. If that gets infected, anything that you send from those computers over the internet becomes available.
It's vulnerable then.
Yeah, so they can skim all the data. So if you're paying the mortgage, all that information can be captured. I mean, it's ridiculous.
How does it happen that the router can get infected?
Well,
and then how do you know that it happened once
Well, you don't.
does?
That's the thing. You don't know what happened. If you get some weird router performance issues, that can be an issue. This only affects Netgear branded routers, of which I have one.
Of which I have one.
Of which mine was in the subset that could have been infected.
So would you have that information on Facebook or something? How do our viewers...
Well, no, I'm giving it out right now.
Okay, go. I'm like, for selfish reasons, what the heck?
You have to install a firmware patch.
Okay.
So firmware is the software inside your router that tells your router how to work. Netgear has released a patch for that. If you log into your router and you get that old dusty instruction book out, it'll go 192.168.0.1 and you put in the password. If you never change the password, boo on you, but it's admin with a blank password usually, and then you get in, or admin or something like that, and then you get in and you can click on the upper right hand corner. It'll tell you what firmware version, and if you just search Netgear's website for your model router, it'll tell you what the current version firmware is.
Okay.
It's not hard to do. You can't do it wrong. You can't install the wrong one. There's lots of safeguards in place to prevent that.
Okay.
But you got to do that update. So we see that first, and that was like, wow, but hey, it only affects Netgear users, which is only what, half. So okay, great. So then we step back and we say, oh, look, there's a brand new piece of excuse me, a brand new piece of ransomware out there. This is the stuff that infects your computer and encrypts your entire hard drive and then tells you, oh, you have to pay me $500 in Bitcoin, otherwise, and you have to go on the dark web to do it. You can't do it on a regular internet. You got to go into the hire a hitman page to do this. And most people don't, including myself. The first time I saw it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I know it exists. I've never been there. Never needed a hitman, I guess. So, we went there and we pay the ransom and you're dealing with a criminal. So just like in the movies, sometimes the hostages, your data, get released when you pay the ransom. And sometimes they take 3 to the chest. And that's the end of the day. You're dealing with criminals. You're giving them money that's untraceable. Sometimes they just walk away with the money and don't bother to give you what they promised.
So those could be the pictures of your kids. Yes. Those could be the most important documents.
Yep.
And everything on your computer.
This is one of those rare instances where backups don't help you because it encrypts your backups too.
Jeez.
And any attached devices, external hard drives, flash drives, networked storage drives. There was a sheriff's department in Maryland that got hit by one of these, and it literally encrypted the entire police database.
My gosh.
They had to pay. They called the FBI. The FBI said, "You just got to pay the ransom."
So what do we do about that? And does endpoint? I know that's something you've talked to us before about. Is that something that can protect us in either case?
It can, yes. In fact, endpoint, even this new one that has never been seen before, endpoint fights it to a stalemate. So you see that it says, "Oh, you're infected," but the encryption never happens, which is the important part. And then we can fix it and get it taken care of for you. But at a time when we have all these things going on at the same time, not to mention the fact there's a brand new flash vulnerability that came out last week that allows a hacker to take complete remote control of your computer. All you have to do is go to some web page and a flash thing pops up and boom, they've got complete remote control of your computer. And Adobe says, don't worry, we'll come out with a patch for that this week.
In the meantime,
so if you have Secure Updater, you'll get that patch as soon as it comes out. Yeah, in the meantime, you're dead in the water. So, endpoint is probably the best solution you can have for you. But while all this is going on, guess what happened a year ago?
What? I'm afraid to ask.
Norton 360 was retired by Symantec last September, and we converted 1,000 people over to endpoint in the month of October. Now, we have called every single one of these people.
They're going to yell at me.
Every single one of these people and said, it's time. We need to renew you. We don't store your credit card data. We do not auto-renew you. If you do not renew, you are not going to be protected. 500, roughly, we had a few more over the weekend after I went on the shows and did this, 500 called back and gave us the numbers that they needed or said, hey, I don't want to do it anymore.
I need this.
And the other 500 are going to expire next week.
Well, I'm going to expire today because they're going to take me out if I don't get out of this segment. I feel like when it rains, it pours, and we didn't even get asked about the Allen Band, which is like the best news of all.
Well, just check out the Facebook page for the Allen Band.
TheAllenBand.com. Look it up on Facebook, The Allen Band. SchrockInnovations.com. Thor Schrock. Thank you.
Thank you.